Hey, this is going to be an interesting lecture because under one lecture, we are going to discuss about Revenue Cloud and its capabilities. We are going to cover theory and demo both. So this is our agenda. We will first start with the introduction of Revenue Cloud, and then we will check how to configure multiple different products. Post that, we'll discuss about the data flow, which makes Revenue Cloud really fast. After that, we will go and discuss a complex topic, which is qualification rule. We will discuss about the special category of a product, which is users based. And finally, I will show you how to configure the pricings and what is the DRO. And finally, we'll discuss about the billing. So this is our agenda. So let's start. First of all, let's learn what is Revenue Cloud or RCA. In a lame language, Revenue Cloud is a combination of two different teams. First is your sales cloud, second is your financial cloud. In general, the responsibility of a sales and CPQ team is to maintain the opportunities. Once it is done, you generate the codes, you handle multiple products, do some other configurations, right? On the other hand, the finance team is more on handling the cash, right? Your finance team may also involve in tracking the product deliveries and all other stuffs, right? But in short, they are two different teams. Because they are two different systems, different environments, there will always be a communication gap between both of them. Now, Revenue Cloud is a unified platform that bridges the gap between sales and finance team. What does that mean? In a single platform, you can generate the quotations, you can send these quotations to the customers. Once approved, you can generate the orders. In a single same platform, you can also track where is your order. You can entirely check your decomposition process and the fulfillments as well. Once the order is delivered, you can send the invoice to the customer. You can specify certain days to clear that invoice. You can send multiple reminders as well. If invoice is not cleared, you can apply some taxes or additional tariffs. Once it is cleared, you can actually track the entire revenue, and all those things you can do under one platform. Obviously, because this is a decoupled platform, whenever needed, you can make additional API calls to your SAPs or ERP systems. And all those things can be easily done through headless APIs. So this is the overview of what actually Revenue Cloud does. Okay. Now let's deep dive our discussion and discuss about what are different products that Revenue Cloud can configure. Well, Revenue Cloud has a vast category of products. We can configure a single products, for example, your iPhone, your mouse, all those single products, or we can also configure a bundle products. Like its name says, it's a combination of multiple different products, right? You will club them together and sell it once. For example, your desktop actually has multiple different products. For example, screens, keyboard, mouse, and all that. Other software example is Google One. Apart from this, we can also configure users based or consumption type products. You may have a customer who only wanted to pay on how much they used. For example, the cloud hosting. Maybe you have purchased 15 GB of RAM in Google. You do not wanted to pay for 100 GB. You only wanted to stick with 15 GB, right? If I talk about Salesforce, we have API consumptions, right? Similarly, that type of product where we have to pay only on how much we use, that we can control under users based. Other category is POT or percent of total. Their cost actually depend on their parent costing. For example, from Amazon, you have purchased a AC. So AC is a one product. With AC, they are also providing a installation service. The installation service cost is the 15% of your AC, right? So that installation is nothing but a percent of total, because there is no specific amount that we are going to charge to the customer. The costing will depend on the actual product that customer has purchased, right? Other example is Mac insurance and shipping and handling charges. Next is multi-dimensional quoting. If customer wants to pay in multiple different parts, then this is the option. For example, in real estate, if you purchase a under construction property, you don't pay once, right? You pay it based on the construction progress. So this type of products can be configured under MDQ. Now let's go to Salesforce and see how we can configure this bundle products. So we have a product called HP Desktop. If you go and check the product type, it is nothing but a bundle product, right? If you go to the structure, this product is actually a combination of two different products, which is mouse and monitor, right? And these products are connected with desktop by a product group. Okay, so this is how you can configure a bundle product. Okay, you can add this product to cart as well. So this is how it will show. You will get a drop down, and inside that you will see all your child products. For each of these childs, you can apply different level of discounts and pricings. You can also go and control their configurations by clicking on this configure button. So all available configurations will be shown here. Now from here, as an admin, we can restrict how many mouse we are selling for one product. or we can also make specific product as required. For example, for this monitor, I cannot go and change the quantity, but for this mouse, I can go and increase or decrease the quantity as well. Okay, so this is how we can configure the products. Let's continue our discussion. Now let's discuss about the data flow in Revenue Cloud. In a regular platform like CPQ or in Apex driven platform, the data flow happened through a SQL query, right? For example, if we wanted to know what is the price of our desktop product, we have to run a SQL query which will fetch the data from the Salesforce database layer and display it in front, right? But this is the major change in Revenue Cloud. Revenue Cloud doesn't operate on SQL queries. Why? Because SQL queries are really slow and SQL query have a lot of limitations. This is actually overcome by two smart solutions, which is decision tables and contact definitions. What Revenue Cloud does it runs some async jobs which will fetch the real-time data from Salesforce database and synchronize this on a temporary storage, which is your decision tables and contact definition. And this storage is filled with the data in form of JSON. So when you need to display the information, you will not go and make a SQL query. Instead, you will instantly get this data or load this data from a temporary storage, which is your decision tables. For example, if you wanted to print this message, where we will say, hi username, your product name is cost this much. So if I convert this to my user, it will be, hi Sachin, your product HP desktop cost you $10, right? So here, user is one table, product is a one table, and price is one table. So to display the single message, we have to make three SQL queries, correct? But this is not the case in decision tables and contact definition. You will create a one contact definition. Inside that contact definition, you will define a node and you will add all these three values. After that, you will map this wherever you want the data, right? So whenever you need to print this information, you just need to call the correct contact definition. Let's try to understand this with the help of Salesforce. Here, just go and type context definition. Inside this contact definition, you will see there will be multiple different out of box contact definitions, and you will also have a custom definitions, right? So for example, I will open this contact definition. So if you go to the structure, so this is your structure, and on each structure you have the nodes or basically the fields that you wanted to pull. So in the example that I told you, so there will be a user table. Inside user, you will have a username, right? And then you have a product table. Inside the product table, you will have a product name, and then here you will have a price table, and inside price table you will have a price name. All those things you will go and map. So if I go to the map data, you will see there will be multiple mappings. Let me open one of them, and all that we will map with the real Salesforce objects. So for example, the sales transaction, this is mapped with the order data, right? So this ID is hold here. Similarly, we have sales transaction items. So this is mapped with order line item, right? So here, instead of making lot of different objects call, what we have done is we have defined a JSON type of structure, and we only hold the information that we need. For example, in the sales transaction, from objects, all these fields information only we need, and we have declared them as an attributes, right? So this is how we can do the mappings, and once the data is loaded, that contact definitions and decision tables will be used in your Revenue Cloud to fetch the information. Okay, let's continue our discussion. Next topic is the qualification rules. In Revenue Cloud, you may have different category of sales employees, right? There will be some sales employee who will operate on a, let's say, India region. There will be employee who will operate on US regions. You do not want your India people to see the US products, right? To restrict this, we need to define the qualification rules. So what is qualification rule? It is a logic that determines which products, customers, or service meet a specific criteria for progress. It acts as a filter to automatically identify what product to show on QLA or quote line editor. Let's discuss this as well in Salesforce. To demo the qualification rule, let's bring a requirement. Our requirement is for account if ownership is defined as a private and any quote is created against this account, then only the product where ownership is defined as private, only that should show. If this is the requirement, then what we need to do is we have an object called product qualifications. Inside this, we have to create a record. Here we need to define our product and in the ownership, whatever value that we wanted to define, that we can bring here. Now what we can do is, for example, here I have defined it as a public. If I go to a quote, the only limitation is quote should belongs to the same account. So this is the quote which belongs to this account. Now if you go to the browse catalog, for example, now if I go to this electronics category and if I click on next, and now if I go to the desktop, you will see the product will not show. If I click on this icon and I click on disqualified, then only the product will show. Okay, so this is how we can apply the disqualification or qualification rules. Now if I again make it private, and if I go back to the record again, if I refresh this page, and if I again click on browse catalog, and I'll click on next, and now if I go to the desktop, then you will see the product will again start showing. Okay, so this is how we can configure the qualification and disqualification rules. Okay, so let's continue our discussion. Next is users-based product. As we already discussed, users-based product means we only need to pay on how much we used it, right? For example, we have a rental car, we have Salesforce licenses and advertising platforms. Let's go in Salesforce and see how we can configure them as well. So for that, I have a product called car rental service. The product type is users based, and that product I have added to this code. Okay. So now if I scroll, and there you will get an option to manage users resources. Okay. So if it is a users based product, then only you will get this option. In the first, you will see we have a rental services, car rental services, right? And then we have a user resource. So if I click on users resource, you will see we have three options here: grant. In the grant, we have quantity. Well, this field is by default 0. We can go and change it. But in general, this information is coming from a third party, because Salesforce do not have the information on how much this car is actually driven by the customer. So this will be coming from the third party. So third party system will feed the details and headless API will store it here. After this, we have a rate cards, and here you will see we have multiple rate cards. For example, current rate is 0.5. Based on the quantity, the rate card will be driven through rate card chart. So we have, so from 500 to 1000, cost will be 0.4. Similarly, from 1000 to 2000, the cost will be 0.3, and further it will be 0.2. Since in the configuration, I have defined this as adjustable, so that's why as a sales rep, I can go and change them. But it is purely up to us how we wanted to configure it. Okay, so this is how we can define the users based products. Let's continue our discussion. Next module is pricing procedures. In Revenue Cloud, we can configure pricing based on our requirement. For example, here we have volume discounts and attribute discounts, both here, right? But let's say in our progress, we do not want volume discounts. Unlike CPQ, this entire thing can be removed, and from price book entry, we can directly jump to the attribute based discounts. Let's go in Salesforce and see how this is looking. So for that, you need to go here and type pricing procedures. Okay, inside the pricing procedures, you will see multiple pricing procedures are present. By default, we have this default pricing procedures available. So if you click on it, inside this, we will have a pricing procedure versions. If you go and click it, you will see all those configurations are present. If you just click here, you will see different other price lists are also available. For examples, I want list price to update somewhere. So I can click here and drag it wherever place I want this. And based on the configuration, I can do this. This is the leverage of a decoupled structure where we can go and tune the things based on our requirement. So that's why Revenue Cloud is a business driven, not the process driven. If you do not want this, you simply go and delete it. Similarly, if you do not want attribute discounts, you can go here and that also you can delete. So things will be run through your specific structure. If you want to run it based on certain conditions, that also you can apply. For example, if I go back, or if I actually go here and type pricing procedures again, and I will show you different one. There we have lot of different conditions, and based on the conditions, the right pricing procedures will be picked. Based on these many conditions, this assignment variable will pick. Similarly, you can define this condition for specific pricing procedures as well. Okay, let's continue our discussion. Now, the next topic is the orchestration. Orchestration means once your order is created, Now, how you are delivering this order to the customer. Like I said, Revenue Cloud is not just a sales tool. It captures each and every details. So under orchestration, we have an entire fulfillment plan. Let's quickly check that fulfillment plan. So here we have a product called printer paper. And for this printer paper, we have created the fulfillment plan. So fulfillment plan actually start with inventory check, then we will do the shipping, and finally we will do the billing. Inside inventory check, we have two steps. First is a milestone, which will be green highlighted the moment when inventory check is started. After then, there will be a call out which will be made to external system, and that call out will verify if printer paper quantity is present or not. If it is present, then it will go to the shipping. And once shipping is started, this milestone will be checked. After then, we will send the shipping details to our ERP systems who will take care about the shippings, right? And after then, we will hold the shipping and we will wait for downstream to provide us if shipping is done. Once downstream will provide that shipping is done, this will be green. And finally, we will start the billing. Okay, so this is the fulfillment plan. If you add this particular product in a order, for example, this is our order, and inside this I have added this printer paper, and this is how the order will look like. Inside the order, we have a decomposition tab, and where we have a button to view the orchestration. So you can go and check the entire progress, how things are working. Okay, so as of now, this entire process is completed. That's why all boxes that you see here are green. If there is any issues, then you will see that they will be red highlighted, or if it is in progress, then they will be highlighted. If you pause over it, if you hover over it, you can also check when it is started, what was the end date, and whether it will be done on time or not. So this is how the entire thing will be handled under one platform. Okay, so let's continue our discussion. So this is about the orchestration. Lastly, we have the billing. Now, billing actually starts once product is delivered. Sometimes it also starts once the order is activated, depends on the configuration. To configure the billing, we have certain objects or certain tasks to perform. First of all, we will go and create the billing policies. We will go and create the billing schedules. We will check if invoice is running or not. So invoice batching will be done. And finally, we will create the billing and we will see if the payment is collected or revenue is recognized. Same for billing, we have taxes as well, where the same structure will follow, and we will quote the taxes based on the reasons, based on the rule and regulations. Most of the time, this taxing is depends on its separate environment or separate systems. With the help of headless APIs, these taxing details will be provided. But in Revenue Cloud also, Salesforce start integrating some steps where in-house we can generate the taxes. So let's go and check how we can track the billing. So billing in Revenue Cloud is tracked under the account. So if you go to the account and if you check here, we have invoices. So the first step is we will generate the invoice. So we have already a couple of invoices. Let me show that to you. So this is how the invoice will show. You can generate the invoice directly by clicking on one button. The invoice will be sent to your email address, and once generated, it will be tagged here as well. Under files, you will see the invoice will be tagged. Inside invoice, you will have invoice line items, the actual line item, and invoice grouped. After invoice generation, you have a status. You have to make this status as post, then only the system will consider that invoicing is generated. Okay. Now, after invoicing, you have something called payments. This is the automatic record which will be created once system will receive a payment. So this is also a headless API who will generate this record. So once the payment is received, this is how you will see the records. So here you will see under which account the payment is made and how much the payment will made. If you go to the related, you will have the actual line item details where you will identify the payment is made under which line. If I go back to the account, the last concept here is the credit memos. Credit memo means, let's say the entire process is completed. Customer received the product, they have started utilizing it, but they changed their mind and they wanted to return it. And in your company, you provide the return policy. In that case, now customer owns some amount to you, right? So you have two options to provide this amount back to customer. First is you can refund them. Refund means the amount will be returned to the original source from where the transaction is made. The second option is you will convert that amount into credit memos. If I discuss about B2C, from Amazon, if you order something and you return this product, you will get two options. The first option is you want your refund in your original bank, right, from where you have made the transaction, or you want that refund into the Amazon Pay or any wallet kind of things, right? So this wallet is nothing but a credit memo. Same as B2B, the extra amount that customer owns, that will be stored under credit memos. All right, so that is a high level discussion on Revenue Cloud. If you wanted to learn Revenue Cloud from scratch, then I suggest you go and opt this course under SFDCGYM. You will go to the courses, you will see the Revenue Cloud. Go and check the entire curriculum. This is in detailed course which I have created, and each and every details we have captured here. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.